Usually like just one scene, but if you want to pop around or do anything like that, I'm down with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, most of the time when I watch online, like all the various online improv, the only thing that throws me, the thing that is hardest for me is like the when people are playing in the same space, even though they're not in the same space for whatever reason. That's hard. So, I'll probably initiate us being in different locations.
Oh, dude, I'm down with that, dude. I'm
Yeah.
down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Whatever you want to do, and I'll give you how many suggestions we have,
Okay.
and then just pick a number, and and we go.
Sweet.
We have 16. Wait, let me just double check. I think it's 16, and we've got so pick a number 1 to 16.
1 to 16. Let's go with 10.
10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, let me just double check this one because 8, 9. Okay, perfect. It comes from my friend Anshu, $1 million arm.
$1 million arm. All right. Cool. Hey,
you wanted to talk to me?
Yeah, I just been going a little crazy. So I'm just, I was like, hey, just I need to see a friendly face.
It's going good. I mean, all except for that, it's going all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm adapting to Antarctica. So, that's fun.
By yourself. You're by yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta be going crazy.
A little bit. I feel fine.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like being by yourself.
Yeah. You're good?
Yeah, I'm doing real good. It's funny, you caught me at a great time. I've been super busy.
That's good.
Yeah, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Like I just got a couple minutes, spring training started. And so most of the time I'm out there, and like, I'll tell you what, it's so easy right now. Like I'm feeling good. My arm feels great.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
God, I'd give anything to go outside and throw a ball around.
I know I want to try and describe it because I was putting myself in your shoes, and I was like, wow, Bryce has been up there for a while with nobody, and like, God bless you. Science is the key to everything.
We're learning a lot. We're learning a lot.
But I can go out there, and it's like, the smell of fresh cut grass. That's the one thing that's like, summer's there. You smell the grass. You pick up the baseball. You toss it around, and it keeps me in a state of joy. So, you're probably bored. I shouldn't even be talking about it.
It's fine.
It's just, you get it, and you're like, let me just spend just some time tossing. And the greatest thing is, Bryce, the other day my son came out, and like playing catch with my boy, it's like my dad. Hey, you okay? You sure you're okay?
No, I'm good. It's,
okay.
It's just allergies.
Okay. Oh, wow. In Antarctica.
It was probably mold or something.
I grab a ball. So anyway, I grab a ball, and my son's there, and he's got his first mitt, and it's like, you hear the sound of the ball going through the air. You smell the grass. There's sunshine. You're with your boy. It's like, it reminds me of like Field of Dreams, where they walk out of the field, and it's like he's playing catch with his dad, and it's like, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
It's Iowa.
Are you sure you're okay? You seem to be real sad right now, Bryce.
No, I'm good. How's Julie? Julie's good?
Oh, she's doing great. It's funny. We had we had a barbecue in our backyard yesterday, and she brought her sister over, and you
Oh,
know,
Samantha
yeah, Samantha. And I'll be honest, Samantha was asking about you again.
again.
And she's like, she kept talking about this connection you had, the two of you, and like it was something that she never experienced before. And I said,
Oh, yeah?
the silly thing is, it was right before you left on your expedition, and like, man, the timing could not have been worse, right?
Yeah, yeah. She said we had a connection, huh?
Oh, she could not stop
We
talking
didn't
about it.
mention anything to me.
Oh,
And
really? Because she was
yeah,
saying that, talking to her, you was like talking to an old friend, but an old friend she trusts and an old friend that just positive experience coming out of it. And
that's good.
yeah,
That's
she
great.
said she had been thinking a lot about reaching out to you, but she didn't know with the time difference, and she thought that you probably weren't thinking about her. And I told her you wanted to keep your mind on your work right there. So
You did, huh? You told
yeah, I
her.
was like, Bryce has always said he's got a job to do, and he's got to
Thanks,
do
Doc.
that
No, I
job.
appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Maybe feel free to feel free to give her my email address.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd be happy to give your email address and then, see if she'll send you a message, or I mean, it's got to be lonely up there.
It's it. I mean, it's okay. It's not great. But it's fine. Yeah, like I'm your big brother, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can handle this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only a year-long commitment.
I mean,
So
and I'm here for you. I want to make time for you, I
thank
want give me I just need 5 minutes.
that
That yeah, we've got an inter squad scrimmage right now.
oh
I mean,
yeah.
I'm playing for the Yankees, brother.
I
That's a
know.
dream we had. That's a dream we had.
It
Yeah, I
is.
know. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I can't. I still.
You'll never guess who came into camp today. You'll never guess. You can guess.
Uh, 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 Derek Jeter
Jeter and Mattingly.
and Mattingly.
Yeah, yeah. They came in and they gave an amazing pep talk to us. They talked about the grind of the season. They singled me out too, as I was the horse they were going to ride on as the number one pitcher. And Jeter pulled me aside and he said, yeah, he's like, you've got the best stuff of anyone I've ever seen. I would pay to watch you play. Derek Jeter said that to me. And he said, he handed the C to me. I'm the captain of the Yankees. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm the captain of the New York Yankees, man.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is. I um.
But tell me more about what you're doing. Tell me about what you're up to.
I sure. Yeah. No, that's good. I got I got a core sample from
cool.
about an ice core sample, and basically we're going through and looking at the different levels of oxygenation and carbonation in the air.
Yeah, just a second, Derek. Hold on, Derek. Just a second.
Is Jeter there?
You want to come talk to my brother?
Oh, I don't know if I can handle talking to Derek Jeter right now.
Yeah, he couldn't, sadly.
Oh, it's all right.
I could try.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's I've just been doing some other super awesome stuff here. Like we did a second core sample in the ice.
Double header. You did a double header.
Yeah, double header. God, man, I'm just so, I gotta say, blowing out my shoulder was the best thing that ever happened to me.
How so?
Well, just because I wouldn't have this life,
Right,
like,
right.
I might be right there with you in spring training or something, and then
Yeah.
then we'd be, married to sisters, and live in Florida half the year, and New
Yeah.
York the other half.
I mean,
And our kids grow up next to each other, and
yeah.
that would be that'd be boring. Who wants that, right?
I'd be throwing to you. I'd be pitching right to you.
Yeah, battery mates.
Yeah.
Never happened in Major League history before.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. I
That's
was
the dream.
gonna say, like, don't blame yourself, but
Oh, I don't.
okay.
I don't.
I mean, it's, you meet him and he's just a guy. That's the thing you realize. It's like when you get a guy's home phone number and you can text him or call him anytime you want, it's just a guy. It's just like talking to you. It's the same thing. You're the Derek Jeter of science. All right. You're the Derek Jeter of science.
That works. That works. I'm the Derek Jeter of science. Yeah. I like that. I like.
Oh, Bryce, I miss you, man.
I miss you too. And oh God, I am so fucking jealous of you.
Yeah. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I do kind of sound like a jerk. I want to share this with you, but I also know it hurts. I know it hurts.
If my shoulder wasn't bum and I could fucking punch through this screen, I would. But then I'd hug you.
Punch me. But you should punch me. I mean, who would be, besides Jeter, what other Yankee would you feel like, oh, I always wanted to miss or wanted to meet? Do you know which one? Do you know who I'm talking about? Where you're like,
God,
Yankee.
Mariano Rivera.
I
thought
he was over at the barbecue.
He was at your barbecue?
Yeah, we're friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't want to tell you.
We need to do another core sample. Just
jealous.
Get it? Yeah. It's the work doesn't stop.
Yeah, I got to get back. They're waiting on me.
Yeah, I mean, we get 3 hours of sunlight right now, so I should probably get out there and.
Yeah, I got a couple of Make-A-Wish. I got some Make-A-Wish kids who their last wish was to meet me, so I should really head back.
Yeah. No, go help the cancer kids and give a big thumbs up and tell everybody back home like that I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Tell them that I am awesome and I have not been happier in my entire life.
I'll tell them.
And if I don't ever come home, then just know that I'm living my best life.
I'll tell them. Okay, Mo. I gotta go.
All right. Love you, bro.
Love you. Scene. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, was your dream to play for the Yankees? Was that your dream as a kid?
Yes and no. Yes. I mean, in terms of baseball dreams, that was it. But I never really had that, like, I'm going to be a major league player kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I was not really a good enough player until I was older. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like I had friends who were like the star players on growing up, and I was never that kid, I didn't. It wasn't until maybe my senior year of high school that I I made the high school team all 4 years, but it wasn't until the senior year of high school that I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually good at this game, you know?
Yeah.
So, and at that point, I was already like, oh, I'm not going to go to college for it. You know? Like,
yeah, I think
yeah,
growing up, I don't think I had a dream to play professional baseball. I just enjoyed playing it.
yeah,
And then I think as I got older, I was like, oh, I don't know if I have the discipline to really like take it this seriously. And so
yeah.
I still enjoy playing, you and I play softball, which is like super fun. But even then, I remember the first time I came to LA and you were like, hey, come play, come play. And I was like, all right. And I told I was married and I told my wife at the time, I was like, oh, go play softball. And she's like, what happened last time? Broken ribs. And I had played in a flag football game a couple months before. I'm like, this is softball. And then I ended up breaking my finger.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. It was just a ball thrown into me. I caught it. And then I was like, oh boy. And I turned to, I think, who was playing at first? I forget who was at first, but I turned to her and I go, hey, just to let you know, I can't bend my finger right now. I won't be able to throw the ball with my right hand. And then I broke my a bone in my wrist. Like, it was crazy. I had so many injuries playing softball, but it was so fun.
Yeah. Well, that's those finger injuries for the 16-inch softball.
Oh,
Can't wear gloves, like
the worst. And I remember once I fell, I was indoors doing like running on these mats and a mat slipped out and I fell and hit my wrist. And I was like, oh, that didn't feel good. And the next day we had softball.
ooh.
And I was like, dude, I don't think I could swing the bat. And you're like, you have to play because we don't have subs. And I took like 3 walks that day and I never walk. And I went and I got it checked out and I had like a hairline fracture in my wrist. But I'll never forget that. I was like, well, I'll try to swing. And you and I, before the game, were trying to figure out how to swing the bat.
Yeah. Like trying to see if you could go lefty.
And then I got 3 walks that day. I was like, all right, man, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get into improv? Like, I mean, we've talked about this before. What brought you in? Because you also went to college at for that time, it was a pretty heavy improv school, and it was not the biggest school, but there were a ton of great improvisers that came out of William and Mary at that time.
Yeah. It's so, it was interesting. So I did in high school, I did speech and debate. And my, category or my thing that I did was a category called impromptu speaking, which was you would get like a suggestion on a slip of paper, like a topic, and then you had, I think, 7 minutes, and you could split up that 7 minutes however you wanted to in preparing for the speech and then giving the speech. And so like the people who were best at it would take like 2 minutes just to sort of like give themselves an outline, and then they would just go up and deliver a 5-minute speech. And because anything more than a 5-minute speech can be brutal to listen to. Yeah, from a high school kid especially. So I got particularly good at doing that, and so I would place in tournaments and stuff. But it was always viewed as like the silliest of the categories. Like,
you're the plastic surgeon of medical.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like people are like, oh, you do impromptu? Oh, fun.
Clever.
Exactly, because they all did like policy debate or Lincoln Douglas debate or extemporaneous speaking, which is like you get like half an hour and then you'd have files and you'd like a magazine cutouts, and it'd be like some what should be done about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and you'd have to like do like this research for like 20 minutes or 23 minutes, and then, or half an hour, I guess it was, and then you'd go and give like a 6 or 7 minute speech on it.
Hey, everybody, come watch this high school kid solve the Middle East problem.
Exactly. Yeah. It was, but that, people were like super into that stuff.
Yeah.
And so impromptu was like, oh, that's so cute that you do that.
Oh.
But I was decent at it. And so when I got to college, actually my wife, who we were just friends at the time, was like, hey, you should audition for the campus improv group. And I was like, oh yeah, thinking about it. Cause I was taking theater classes at the time, but I was not doing improv. And this is my junior year of college. And she was like, tell you what, I had a crush on her at the time, even though she was just my friend. But she was like, hey, tell you what, I will take you out to dinner at Outback Steakhouse.
No!
Just opened then. An Outback Steakhouse had just opened in Williamsburg.
And that was for a college kid? That was fine dining.
Oh my God. Like beyond fine dining. That was like, wait a minute, we're going to go on the Titanic of steakhouses? It's unsinkable.
It's unsinkable.
And so, yeah, so she invited me to do that. All I had to do was audition.
Shut up.
I was like, okay. So I auditioned and I got into the group. And yeah, and then the rest is sort of history. I've been doing improv ever since. It was, yeah.
Who are some of the folks, William and Mary improv alums?
Oh, so Craig Kikowski is sort of the father of William and Mary Improv. He wasn't, I don't think he was the guy that officially started it, but he was one of the earliest members of the group, and the guy who, like, the rules of improv when they are sort of passed down at William and Mary, it was like, oh, like these are the rules of improv. Craig Kikowski went to Chicago and took a summer of workshops and brought these rules back to us. So he was like the Moses.
I have in my hands 12 rules of improvisation.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like, so Craig, and then there's Allie Davis and Stuart Ranson. And then, let's see, folks my year. So there was me, and then like all the people who were like sort of I was in the group with, because Craig and Allie and Stuart were all before me.
Yeah.
And then for like the people that I was in the group with, there was like me, Brendan Dowling, Joey Bland, Todd Edwards, Jenny Hagel.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, Kat Sullivan, who's running stuff in Cincinnati.
I mean, it's crazy because it's not the biggest school. It's a small liberal arts school. But from that school, you just rattled off 6 or 7 like world-class improvisers.
Yeah, it's and then there were even like generations after me that like, so like Greg Hess and Mark Wilson and like,
fuck.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Greg's doing that mega podcast, an improvised podcast with Holly Laurent, and it's so funny. It's about this fictitious mega church, and I just think it's hilarious. He attempts I think it's Australian accent, but it's like Australian with a hint of like Boston and a hint of like South Africa. It's so funny. It's so good. And like just the quality of performers that came out of that, and basically comes from Craig taking a class with, I think, Del and Sharna. I think he took like an IO class, and then it was
he took I've got an IO in Chicago, and then came back and was like, so that's the funniest thing is, so the first time I ever did a Harold, it was,
you nailed it. You crushed it, right?
Oh, I crushed it. It was my first show ever, my first improv show ever, and it was at William and Mary, and we did the Harold as a short form game.
maybe better sometimes.
Yeah. So the way we did it was, so the Harold was basically, you would get a suggestion, and the opening would be a pet peeve rant.
Okay.
Right. That was always how you opened it. It's always like a pet peeve rant kind of thing to kick it off. And then you would do 3 scenes, basically 3 two-person scenes that were more or less 3-line scenes. Like get in, establish a premise, establish characters, and edit. You
And
know what I
out.
mean?
Oh,
Just get in and get out. And then we would have a group game that was always preset. It was always like Modern Museum of Art, or like,
so good.
and then you'd see a second beat of each of those 3-line scenes that was like advancing the plot of the first 3 scenes.
Same characters?
Sometimes the same characters. Sometimes it would be a character with a character that was referenced in the first scene. Like,
Okay.
Mom's going to be real pissed at you. And so you'd see like the character with Mom in the second beat. Right. But everything was super telegraphed. Right. Like,
right.
And then there'd be the second group game, which would also be preset, would be like rose colored glasses, or like, some other, thing, structure that we knew. And then the third beat would always be the third beats of the 3 scenes would be the first scene would come back with its third beat, and then every character would find a reason to enter.
What? Wow. That actually sounds pretty cool, though.
Yeah. So like,
wow.
Yeah. So I believe the first improv scene I ever did in front of an audience, it was a walk-on, essentially. It was 2 characters were talking about like having a dance-off in like the first beat. And so in the second beat, they like are talking about their dance-off, and I appear as the devil. And I'm like, I can teach you how to like beat your friend. And they're like, what about dancing? And I was like, who do you think invented disco? Which I thought was brilliant at the time.
Take that, disco. Sick burn. Sick burn.
Yeah. And and that was and that got a laugh. And it was one of those moments of like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah. Isn't that great? That first kind of audience laugh where you're like, oh, like you're not in class anymore. You're with people and you say something and then the audience laughs and you're like, okay, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. It was so that and pretty much from that moment forward, I was hooked.
How long was that show? Like, was it like 10 minutes or?
No, those shows were, we would do like, I don't know, 7 games or something like that. So like, the group at William & Mary is called IT, Improvisational Theater. Really, nice. Really went out there with the name. So that we would basically get hired by like people on campus. So like
for money?
Yeah. So like the RAs and stuff would be like, oh, like we want to have you come to our dorm and do a show for like all the freshmen in our dorm.
Wow.
In like the lounge or whatever. And so based on the size of the show, we'd charge them like, it wasn't a ton. It would be like, and it would be out of like whatever the funds that the RAs had to like do stuff with their residents.
Yeah, but it's still more than people get now for most improv shows.
Yeah. Well, what we would do is, so we'd get like, $25 or $45 a show or something like that. What we would do with that money is we'd put it into like the group account, and then we'd use that to like order pizzas,
jackets, like, jackets.
Well, and at the end of every year, in Virginia, people don't. So like, I grew up in Jersey, and so after the night of prom, right, everybody gets hotel rooms down the shore.
Yeah.
And so people would go to like prom and then go to the hotel rooms that they already had rented down the shore that they had pre-stocked with booze, and like people would just party all night down at the beach. Well, a lot of places in Virginia, you're pretty far from the beach, so you can't really do that. So what they have in Virginia is a thing called Beach Week, which is at the end of like your school year, everybody goes down the shore and rents hotel rooms for like a week. Right?
Wow. Okay.
So at William & Mary, everybody would go down to Nags Head, North Carolina and do Beach Week down there. So we would take that money that we had earned throughout the course of the year and use that to rent a house for the improv group in Nags Head.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Wow. I talk about you when I'm teaching a lot. I reference something. I'm like, 2 words, Sean Monahan. Look him up. Come back next week.
Not do what he does.
No, I remember you did a show with one of the grind shows, which is at West Side Comedy Theater. The owners would get together and do these shows. And it's really fun because you're watching skilled people who know each other, also who know, like, and you and I have talked, Sean, before about like what's your role in the show that night. It changes each time. So you got to know what your role is in the show. And they were talking about Joan, and she's the worst at the office. Do you remember this scene? And they go, oh my God, Joan is the worst. She's terrible. She's the worst. You walk in and they're like, oh God, hey Joan, what are you doing? And you go in the sweetest voice, I'm just reheating fish in the microwave. And I lost it because I'm like, it was such a sweet character, but also you yes-anded their idea, which is like, what could the worst thing happen in this office? You just put it in, you just heated it up. And I always talk about that because I'm like, too many times we want to defend ourselves when there's so much joy in playing that. And you playing it as a sweet person made them look foolish, but you were also reheating fish, which I thought was like tremendously funny and a great choice, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's real easy. I mean, it's weird. The older you get, the easier it is to sort of leave ego behind, I think. You know, especially in this art form. So because early on, everybody wants to be like the cool character, the person that gets the laugh in the show, the person that, you get off stage and, the team had a great show, but you felt bad about your show, and you're going to be like, whatever, mediocre.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As opposed to, what's the purpose here, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I get more and more joy these days out of like just trying to find small moments of like
impact.
Yeah, like what's going on in the life of this person that is something that is interesting to me, that is different, that is this person, abnormal in a way that is relatable and different.
And I think you're right. I think it's a combination of aging, like just getting older, and then doing enough shows, I think, where you're like, cool, I've got plenty of shows left. I've done enough shows. I don't have to go out there and kind of fight for that space, but I can pick those moments. Chris Gorbos is a lot like that too. He'll just like come out and pick the moments that come in that have such an impact on the show. And you're like, oh, if you look at the amount of time on stage, it doesn't compare. But if you look at the impact on the show, same with you. You've got high hit rates of impact in the show, even though you might not be on stage as long as others.
This is a sniper.
Yeah. The sniper comes in and just like says the one thing. And it's just the two of you I can watch improvise. I get so much joy. I watch because I see you just making these like mischievous inserts into shows, and you bring stuff back that people might let drop. And it's just such a joy, man.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find you if they want to connect with you, follow you on social media? And like, you're also one of the owners of West Side in Santa Monica too. So yeah.
So I don't do a ton on social media.
I know.
But if anybody out there has a company, we've recently, I run the corporate arm of West Side Comedy Theater called West Side Corporate Creativity. And so if people are interested in bringing virtual improv to their workplaces, we do that very well. We're one of the best in the world at that. So you can find us at westsidecorporate.com.
Yeah. And you're really good at like executing those programs. You're really good at being in them as well. Like I've had the pleasure of working with you on some projects, and it's like, you really know how to bring something for what a client wants. You know how to like execute it and steer them in a way that's going to bring their idea to life, while also the realistic possibilities of what they want, to be able to navigate that, that's a skill, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think part of it is, and it's actually, I feel like it's really helped my performance as well, because when you're teaching people sort of the skills of improv, and not necessarily, you're not teaching them to be performers, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
I think there's a level of sort of nuance to how human beings interact that you sort of see on a different level, right? When you're just watching like the head of finance talking to like the receptionist in like a yes and conversation, and you're seeing them sort of struggle through how to get past that sort of block of like, I just want to tell this person they're wrong.
Right, right.
That they're so hardwired to do at that point.
Yeah.
Like you see that happening, and you can sort of observe or sort of recognize then like how small things make huge differences.
Yeah, those small little moments too, right?
Yeah, because the minute like the head of finance goes, yeah, and, and like just that simple thing, and you watch like the receptionist too, there's a status thing going on between them, and you just watch the receptionist go and like go in, like they have that moment of like, oh, I'm not being attacked, I'm not being, this is like, I can feel safe in this conversation. That simple little thing tells you so much about what's happened, what has happened between them in the past.
Yes.
Happening between them right now, like what the power of just listening to each other can be.
And you hit on a big thing, which I don't think a lot of people in that world understand, the power of status too, and that shift into status, and someone who's a higher status letting the other person know, I hear you. Like that's such a basic human need that person in the lower status position, it's going to impact them so much more than you think. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, people don't realize that the impact that their status has on other people is, and you see that throughout society, like not even just in organizations. You just see people in positions of sort of power who just don't seem to understand how, the smallest things they do or say can really have a huge impact on the lives of other people.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we'll talk more about this soon. I'd love to do. Yeah, I think we should do a get together, me, you, and Jillian, and do one of these kind of ask us anything kind of thing, and talk about like the impact that people's behaviors have and how you can change it. Well, it's awesome, dude. Give my best to Betsy and O, and really great seeing you, pal. Love you.
You got it, brother. Love you too. Thanks for having me.
Bye.